Fresh off Election Day, we have results from the presidential primary race for you. Our Christy Diaz has a closer look at the results broken down across the metro. And Ariana Maniz is live with reaction of those results for us this morning. But first, let's start with the numbers. Overnight, as we looked into vote totals, there was one that really caught our attention, and it was that low voter turnout.
Not a lot of motivation out there. Let's start with Christy Diaz at the big board. Christy, Georgia voters made a rematch official.
Good morning to both of you. Yes, it's the current and the former president going head to head once again. And yeah, the story of the numbers this morning is the low voter turnout. This shows statewide how many Democratic voters came out yesterday. No surprise that Joe Biden won with 95%. So of the people who chose the Democratic ballot, 95% voted for Joe Biden. Down here, it shows you the total number of Democratic votes. 288,000 and some change. That's pretty low, but it shows you how low when you compare it to the Republican story from yesterday's primary. Of the people who chose a Republican ballot, 84% voted for Donald Trump. Interesting that Nikki Haley still got more than 77,000 votes. Keep in mind, some of those are early votes or absentee votes from when she was still in the race and hadn't dropped out yet, but still pretty significant. Something to keep an eye on and something that shows us this state is going to be a swing state and it's going to be very close come November. Now let me should look down here. The total number of Republican votes, little over 500,000. But if you combine that together, this shows us two things. One, that twice as many Republicans came out to vote as Democrats yesterday. And also, combine that with the number of Democratic voters, only 12% of Georgia's voting population came out to vote. So hopefully we'll see a bigger showing in November when it's the general election. There's more motivation to get out there. We're actually choosing our president. What we'll be looking for come November as we zoom into the metro here, these two counties. Cobb used to be reliably red, not anymore. That is up in the air. It flipped back in 2016, held blue in 2020. Gwinnett, also a battleground county. This is going to be looked at nationwide and will be a key factor in deciding the November election. Guys, back to you.
All right, Christy, and get ready for a barrage of campaign ads. 11 Alive's Ariana Maniz continues our team coverage. Ariana, we're hearing from analysts this morning about what it's going to take for either candidate to win Georgia.
That's right, Cheryl. The last time we saw President Biden and former President Donald Trump run for the White House, we saw President Biden turn Georgia blue. But this go around, analysts, they tell us that this race is any party's race. The 2024 race for the White House is set. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump will face off again, a rematch from the 2020 presidential election. Both candidates won their respective party's nomination after primary races on Tuesday. While it was expected Biden and Trump would win over Georgia, the state's primary results stand to be a window into how voters are feeling heading into the November election.
The only honest thing to say about Georgia is that it is politically very competitive and will remain so.
Democrat Charlie Bailey says it's not obvious which party will win Georgia during the general election. But if President Biden wants to keep Georgia blue, Democrats must run a solid race.
Got to run scared in Georgia and fight for every single vote and not assume that the people of Georgia will just automatically reject Trump, because that campaign is going to fight for it.
Democrats say Georgia's newer voters tend to be younger, more educated, and more Democrat-leaning. But Republicans say they've quietly gained among working-class voters and just enough voters of color.
Got 8% last time. I would say in 2024, Trump is tracking to get about 10% of the black vote.
Leo Smith is a Republican strategist. While he says he won't support the former president, despite his legal challenges, he believes Trump is a stronger candidate this time around as he makes his third attempt to the White House.
He is a better candidate than the previous few times, except for the fact that he's embroiled in many criminal charges. You take that away from him and he'd be a better candidate.
Now what's next? We'll see both candidates officially nominated by their parties during the national conventions. Democrats, they're meeting in Chicago in August, and Republicans will nominate former President Donald Trump in Milwaukee come July. Back to you.
All right, here we go, Ariana. You'll find in-depth election coverage right now on 11alive.com, including what Georgia voters say are the most important issues this election. Just click on the Elections tab at the top of our homepage.